So hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. I am Surbhi and this is Perspective 360 Degree, your one-stop solution for current affairs, descriptive writing and answer writing evaluation. If the audio is clear and the video is clear to you, if there is no noise in the background, then kindly let me know in the chat section so that we can proceed with today's discussion. I've got a message from a username called Moon Knight. Hello ma'am, is your playlist enough for RBI? Definitely for the descriptive writing part, this playlist is more than enough for RBI Grade B exam. Not just that, we also prepare you for NABARD Grade A and SEBI legal descriptive parts, some parts of SEBI legal. So we try to include everything from RBI notification, every notification that can be seen as a descriptive writing question in the phase 2 of your exam. That is included. Good evening, Sorish. Good evening, aspirant. Dhruv, hello. Absolutely, Anurag. EduTap is definitely sufficient for the current affairs part. Pratul Shekhar, good evening. You're the paid course student, if I'm not wrong. Thank you, Sorish, for confirming that everything is clear. See, I have three points to make here before proceeding. The first thing is that if you're joining for the first time, then this series is meant for you if you're preparing for regulatory bodies examination or any examination that includes descriptive writing or answer writing part. And Perspective 360 Degree aims to cover all the current affairs topics through which questions in descriptive writing portion can be asked in your exam. So we take a question answer format in all of our discussions, and not just this, you can also write your answers and practice with EduTap. Just post your answers after this video in the comment section in the next 48 hours and our team will provide you with free feedback, comprehensive evaluation, entirely free of cost. The second thing is, there are many topics which have been covered by us in the past. For example, central bank digital currency. That is the first topic that we covered on Perspective 360 Degree. Then the other one is Uniform Civil Code. I think that was topic number 34 or 35. So both of these topics, they are in news. And fintech, because of UPI, or Unified Payment Interface, I'm sure you must have covered that UPI is applicable, or it works in other countries also. There are many other countries where it works. So fintech, that is also important. I request you and I urge you that go back to these topics of in Perspective 360 Degree playlist itself. That's the first playlist in the playlist section on our YouTube channel. Kindly cover those topics. If you have already covered them, kindly revise the PDFs of these topics and try to make additions from all the current affairs that are appearing now. Only then it will become a 360 degree or a holistic preparation for you. So definitely check out those topics. I cannot take those previous topics again and again. Alright, and the third thing that I want to mention here is that all the discussion that happens here, that appears on our Telegram channel in the form of PDF. We share the PDF on the next working day. So today's PDF will be shared tomorrow morning, by tomorrow morning. So you don't have to note down anything. However, I do encourage you to scribble side by side so that you understand better. So good evening all of you. Neha is back, Pratul Shekhar is here. All right. So the topic for today is fiscal centralization. How is the money divided between various levels of government? You have 3 levels of government in your country. That is union government or the central government at the top. At state level or at the regional level, you have the state governments, and at the local level, you have panchayats and municipalities. We have already had a session on panchayats, and we also discussed about what are the issues that RBI has highlighted regarding funds of panchayats. So we will be using some points from there as well today. From here, there is another important topic that is mentioned separately in the SEBI exam and is important for RBI and NABARD as well. That the topic is Finance Commission. So that will be taken at a later date. The discussion for today is important to understand Finance Commission. That will be taken later. So in news has been in the Indian Express, if you see, India's fiscal dilemma. This is a very important and an interesting article which has been written by Arvind Subramaniam and Josh Feldman. The second one here, which is a little old, that is from January. It was a guest column. It talked about financial centralization, a threat to India's federal structure. Both of these articles talk about fiscal or financial centralization or the wiping out or the evaporation of fiscal federalism in the country. And the same topic appeared in the previous September also. That's not the time when we covered it, so we are covering it right now. Union government's financial centralization aimed at political centralization. So CP Chandrasekhar, many governments of South India, southern states, many political leaders of southern states have from time to time said that South India, it makes a lot of contribution towards the central government funds through taxes that southern states are paying, but it does not get the same devolution of percentage of funds that the union government spreads out or gives out in the amongst the state governments. So that issue will be discussed in detail today. The relevance for RBI Grade B, if you see from your phase 2 perspective, paper 1, there is a topic called monetary and fiscal policy since reforms of 1991. Then you have public finance and some parts of political economy. What are the articles important and everything else that forms part of your syllabus here. This topic is important. Then NABARD Grade A, look at paper 2 section 1, that is economic and social issues. Economic underdevelopment is one of the topics. I'll tell you how is it related to that. And then Indian political systems, where all these articles with regards to financial relations between central government, state government, local government, these are covered. So that's why it's important for NABARD Grade A as well. For SEBI Grade A, this is especially important because direct and indirect taxes, non-tax revenue or non-tax sources of revenue, GST, finance commission, fiscal policy, and FRBM. That is mentioned separately in your syllabus, so kindly prepare it for that. And a general topic in English writing skills regarding fiscal centralization can be seen in all parts of the in all the examinations. So kindly stick with me and understand all the topics that we are discussing today. So now first of all, let's look at the expected question. When you have a question in mind, it's very easy for you to understand the course of discussion. You know that what are the areas in your mind that you have to be curious about. What are the areas in that topic? So it becomes very clear. So the question that can be asked from fiscal centralization or fiscal federalism is this: examine the issues linked with fiscal centralization in India and propose potential remedies for these challenges. Answer for 600 words, that is for 15 marks. Now this question is very, very short, but it has given us bigger challenges to answer. That means you must be aware of, first of all, let's look at the keywords here. The first keyword here, let me just switch to the pen. The first keyword here is issues. The second is fiscal centralization. So what is fiscal centralization should be very clear to you. Then with respect to India, we have to talk about all these concepts with respect to India only, not with respect to globe or any other government, and propose potential remedies. So these remedies might not be applicable right now, but they can be potential in nature. That means they can be implemented in future. So in this scenario, a way forward has been asked directly as part of your question. So I can see that this question is divided into two parts. That means there are two parts to this question. The first one is issues linked with fiscal centralization. The second part is potential remedies to treat these issues related with fiscal centralization. That means you have to give a way forward. Now you can have various micro questions. 2 micro questions are very clear, but we have 2 additional micro questions in every question which help us write an introduction and a conclusion. So as I always tell you, follow the answer blueprint. You will be very, very safe when you follow this. After the question, just start with the focus on topic or theme, and that should frame your introduction. So what is the question for introduction? It would be fiscal federalism or fiscal centralization. Then move on to body part and conclusion. So the introduction would contain overview of fiscal federalism, give overview of fiscal federalism. The body part 1 will talk about the first micro question, that is issues linked with fiscal centralization. The second body part will give the way forward or remedies for these challenges. And finally, in the conclusion, since we have already given solutions or way forward or remedies, in the conclusion, kindly summarize your answer because you don't have much data or much information left. Once you understand the basic of all this, this question is very simple to answer. So for those of you who feel scared about this, don't worry about anything at all. We are going to cover everything here. So before moving forward, kindly let me know if this blueprint of the answer is clear to you. If you have any doubts, kindly let me know in the chat section and then we'll proceed. Yes, Neha, that's absolutely enough. Also, guys, when I'm carrying out this topic discussion, kindly do not bring any other general doubts in the discussion, because there are many people who watch it in the recorded format as well. So, if you have some question with regards to this topic, kindly let me know. Otherwise, reserve your doubts for the end of the discussion. All right. So now in introduction, first thing is very clear that you have to talk about fiscal federalism. Now, first of all, let's understand what fiscal federalism is. And here you just have to hear me out. There is no data that I'm displaying here. See, money is important to do anything. If a bridge has to be built, a water tank has to be built in your locality, your area, money is required for that. Just like you require money individually to carry out, to work on your own development, which course you want to purchase, what you want to buy for yourself, for your family. Your family requires money, your community requires money, your governments also require money. So where do governments get their money from? They either get it from taxes, or they get it from grants. If some other country, let's say World Bank is giving grant to government of India, so grants is another way of getting money. State government, they get grants from union government. Local governments, for example panchayats and municipalities, they get grants from union and state governments both. So there are like various aspects of making money: taxes, grants, gifts, fees, cess, anything like that. So these are the sources where governments can make money from. Now see, central government in your country is at the top, union government is at the top, right? So obviously central government has more money than any of the state governments presently. So state governments also, they do not have a lot of money making powers, or they do not have the potential to make as much money through taxes or through other sources as they can. So what they rely on is, let's say you get some let's say you are staying in a family. So whom do you rely on if you're not earning? So whom do you rely on for making money or for getting your money? Probably your parents, your guardian, or the head of your family, or the head of your community wherever you're staying. So similarly, lower levels of government, they rely on higher levels of government for their money or for their funds or revenue. So you can see that panchayats, they rely on state governments, that when state government will send the money, only then school will be constructed in that village. State governments, they rely a lot on union government or the central government of the day. So how this money has to be distributed by central government, that is at top level in the like hierarchy, how this money has to be distributed amongst all the states, that is decided by various methods. And distribution of financial power amongst various levels of government or amongst various states, that is known as fiscal federalism. Basically, what do we say? That what is federalism? Federalism is division of powers or distribution of powers amongst regional governments in a country, because when power is distributed amongst regional governments, that is a better form of democracy. That means government can move on more efficiently. So when money is distributed, money is also power, money brings power. So when money is distributed amongst various regional governments or state governments, that is fiscal federalism. All right. So what do we mean when we say that fiscal centralization? Fiscal centralization means when union government is not giving or not devolving funds or money to regional governments or to state governments. It could also imply that the union government, because they're coming from political party A, so this union government is giving more funds to the state governments in which political party A is in power. So these issues, the issue of fiscal centralization has erupted from time to time, especially in the previous 1 decade. Why is that erupted? I'll tell you. And first of all, in the introduction, you should emphasize on the role or on the importance of fiscal federalism to carry out development, to enhance or to make democracy more efficient, or to enhance the social fabric of the country. Fiscal federalism is important. So talk about fiscal federalism and then talk about the negative impacts of fiscal centralization in the body part 1. All right. So the first thing we are focusing here on is defining fiscal federalism. So fiscal federalism basically describes how the financial powers and responsibilities are divided between different levels of government in a country. So basic response has been given regarding the definition of fiscal federalism. From here you can thread out into various aspects, that in India fiscal federalism is ensured by these articles of constitution, if you remember those articles. Or India is a very diverse country, and the needs of a particular region can only be understood by the local government or the state government of that area. Hence fiscal federalism becomes very, very important. So you can talk about such lines. Make sure that your introduction is 3 to 4 lines long. So fiscal federalism involves questions such as which functions and services should be provided by central government or the state governments, how the revenue should be raised and shared amongst them, and how the transfers or grants should be allocated to ensure efficiency and equity. So whichever government has the money, that government has more independence to carry out, to launch various schemes, to launch various policies, to carry out development in that particular area. So now this is some additional information for you, that India has a diverse geography, demographics and economic landscape. So a robust federal structure that allows the states flexibility to tailor policies and programs to meet the unique needs of their population, that is very much necessary, and that can only be done when states have financial autonomy. For example, the needs of a hilly area state might not be the same as that of a coastal area state. A coastal area state might be launching projects, might want to launch projects to protect subsiding of sea levels, while a hilly area state might want to launch policies for preventing landslides or avalanches. So such kind of development measures can only be taken by state government, and just emphasize on India's demography, India's geography, that is very, very diverse, and hence financial powers are required by state governments. So now I have some additional facts for you. These are completely optional for you because as part of RBI Grade B, polity is not a part of your syllabus, but there are some provisions or articles mentioned in the constitution which talk about how the money should be distributed between central and state government, what grants should be given by central and state government, how often should this dividing method should be revised. So first of all, look at this part 12 of Constitution. So distribution of taxes as well as non-tax revenues, and the power of borrowing, supplemented by provisions for grants and aid by the union to the states. So there is part 12 which focuses on the financial relations between union government and state government. What financial relations, or what money, what kind of funds, the money that is coming from taxes, how that has to be distributed. Also the money that is coming from non-tax revenue, for example fees levied or some grant is coming to the union government. So that also has to be divided amongst various state governments, because ultimately what will the union government do with money? The aim of all the governments is to work for development of people, to work for development of the country. So union government also divides most of its money into various state governments so that development can happen. So and grants and aid by union to the state. So that is mentioned in part 12 of Constitution. Either you can use this line, or there are other articles that I have for you as information. So article 268 to 293, they deal with provisions of financial relations between center and states. Then the grants and aid system under article 275. So it involves discretionary transfer of funds from central to state government. Excuse me. So if the central government wants that, let's say the central government sees that there is a state in Northeast India which has seen a recent natural disaster. So the central government feels that this particular state requires more money this year to cope with that natural disaster or that calamity that has happened. So the central government does have the power, discretionary power, to give some money in the form of grant to that particular state government, that is covered under article 275. Then there is Finance Commission, a very, very important body, and it is a constitutional body. That means it is mentioned in the constitution, it gets its powers from the constitution. And which article gives it power? Article 280. Finance Commission is constituted by president from time to time. Whenever president feels that now the way we are distributing money amongst the states, that has to be revised for the next few years, then the president calls upon a finance commission. So finance commission is constituted, meetings are held, and the responsibility of finance commission is to advise the president, which is the representative of central government, is to advise the president on how money should be distributed or how funds should be distributed between various state governments. So as of now, till 2026, we have the 15th Finance Commission recommendations which are functioning, and soon we'll have a 16th Finance Commission that will, make recommendations to the president. That's why finance commission is also in news. All right, then you have three lists: state list, union list, and concurrent list. So whatever subjects are mentioned in the constitution under the purview of state government, so all those subjects, on all those subjects, the state legislature or the state government has the power to levy taxes. Then and on concurrent list also, whatever subjects are mentioned, both state government and union government can levy taxes. That means the state government can make money out of those sources by putting taxes on them. So for example, whenever you have a bill, whenever this GST is cut, you have a separate union GST or central GST, CGST, and a separate state GST. Now this is a snapshot from one of the websites. This is a summary of all what we have done. Also mentioning, these are just additional facts. Kindly go through them briefly. Keep what you understand, otherwise don't get tensed over it, what you have to write or not. So this is a brief overview of Finance Commission, and here I want you to focus on certain areas only. You don't have to go through it in detail. So first of all, you have to see here, there is Article 280 under which Constitution of Finance Commission happens. Then it makes recommendations to the President about distribution of net tax proceeds. That means the money that has been collected by central government by levying taxes, through taxes, whatever money central government has collected. Then principles for grants and aid to the states by center, that if central government wants to give some grants to the states, grant is like free money. So okay, so what are the principles that the central government should follow? Then evaluates rise in consolidated fund of a state. Also state governments have this responsibility to give money to panchayats and municipalities, that is local government. That is also recommended by Finance Commission itself. Now, how does the Finance Commission advise or decide that which state should get more money? So there are various parameters. The first one is population, area, forest and ecology. If a state has more population, that means it will have more money. So here southern states have a problem because we want to control our TFR, we want to control our population also. So southern states say we are low in population because we have carried out population control measures. Now there are many states who are not controlling population, but they are getting more money because of Finance Commission recommendations, because higher population requires higher money for development. So that is the idea that is followed by Finance Commission, and it is objected by many of the southern states. Then area, the bigger states require more money. Forest and ecology, this has been recently added. If more forest area is there, green cover is there, that means more environmental friendly policies have been adopted, then that state gets more money. Income distance, that means how much poor that particular state is from other states, so that state will get more money. Demographic performance, that population control has happened, that means more money will be given. This is again recent one. And tax effort. So you don't have to compare all of this, but just I hope that it is clear that various parameters are taken into account when funds are transferred to various state governments, and all these factors or all these parameters are not liked by all the state governments in the same way, because all state governments don't get the same amount of money. In fact, many northern states which do not have a lot of contribution towards the central government taxes, they get more money when money is devolved to the state governments, as compared to many southern states which contribute more towards central government taxes, but they get lesser money. So that's where the problem is coming, and it is coming mainly from southern states or northern areas of Punjab. So we'll see what are the issues with fiscal centralization. What happens, or what are the problems when fiscal federalism is not there, when union government tries to keep most of the funds or money with itself only. Then what are the problems that arise? And these problems will be discussed in like six steps, and then I'll move on to the chat section to take your inputs and doubts. So first of all, strain on state budgets. The second is accentuation of interstate inequality in public finances. These subheadings, they are very much clear even if you read them, even if you give them a light reading, and hence your subheadings also, they should be very clear even with the light reading. Then potential bias in resource allocation, impingement on the principles of fiscal federalism, a very basic point. It fuels regional separatism that is being seen in northern and southern states, and finally it also fuels political interest. So 6 steps or 6 issues will be discussed here, but before that, kindly let me know in the chat section if you have any additions to make here or any doubts still here. Good evening, Lokesh. Okay, Bilal Khan, good evening. Thank you, Veenu ma'am. So, guys, actually, YouTube live streaming always sees a delay of maximum 2 minutes, anywhere between 30-40 seconds to up to 2 minutes. So, I'm waiting for your responses. If you have any additions to make here, then kindly let me know in the chat section. All right, all right, Dhruv, no issues, no additions also. So first of all, whenever financial centralization occurs, when the central government is not distributing money to various state governments, let's say central government sitting at Delhi is not distributing money to Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Meghalaya. So states are not getting money. Then what happens? Where the money comes from? State budget that sees a fiscal deficit or strain on state budget is seen, and then the states have to borrow from other sources. Either they have to raise loans, because development has to occur. If a state government has launched a scheme, or if it has promised some projects, if a road is half built and the money from central government to complete the road has not been devolved from the central government to that state government, then what will happen? That road cannot be left in between beyond a certain point of time, because ultimately it's the people who are suffering that loss. The taxpayers are at the loss, at the receiving end of that disadvantage. So strain on state budget that is seen. So impacts the ability of state governments to effectively deliver public services. This increases dependence on central government for development in that state, and this is something that we don't want in our country. We want all levels of government to be able to function independently. You might have seen that many governments in which the state government, the political party which is in power at the state level, is in opposition to the political party at the central level. So many such state government political leaders complain that center is not sending us funds. There are dues lying with the central government, due to which our development or state's development is not occurring on time. So, and this has all been planned by the central government. Many leaders say that from time to time. So for development, more dependence on central government occurs, and many a times political parties can do that intentionally, to stop the development in a particular state, so that in the next election cycle people don't vote for that government. In fact, they vote for the party who's in power at the central government level as well. And the other problem it creates is that during natural disasters, or during times of calamities, or during the times of pandemics such as the COVID-19 pandemic, the biggest problem that occurs is that timely management or timely evacuation cannot occur. These state governments do not have a lot of money to operate freely. So for all these relief measures, they depend on the central government to carry out relief. Why they depend on central government? Because central government can send them grants, can send them more money. So even in sectors crucial for disaster management, tragedies, for example, tragedies in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Tamil Nadu, there is liquidity crunch, and such tragedies, they have highlighted the fact that if money with state governments is less, then it impacts disaster management also, which should be taken on priority. In fact, Finance Commission from time to time has recommended to Union government. Finance Commission can only make recommendations, it cannot make binding decisions, because it can only recommend to President. So it has said from time to time that for funds for disaster management, they should be given separately, and they should be good in number, that if untimely disasters occur, then these states can cope with that. Then the second thing that occurs is accentuation of interstate inequality in public finances. Let's say union government is carrying out favoritism for one particular state. Union government says that we are from political party A, and there is another state in which the ruling party forms the government. So more funds are devolved to that particular state. So other states, they have to take loans, or they go under debt. So less wealthy states, they are forced to commit their borrowed finances to avail the matching contribution from the central government for the implementation of centrally sponsored schemes. So it increases the borrowing and liabilities of less wealthy states and accentuates interstate inequality in public finances. So states see that we are not equals in the eyes of central government, and because we are not getting equal amounts of money. And that there are many centrally sponsored schemes which are running at present in your country. There are two types of schemes: central sector schemes, which for which money is given by Union government, 100%. 100% money comes from union government. The other schemes are centrally sponsored schemes in which certain proportion of money has to be spent by state governments also, and the rest of it comes from union government. So if a state government is getting less money, so to run the same kind of schemes that are running in the rest of the country, this state government will have to take more loans to be able to provide the same centrally sponsored scheme facilities. Then the third one is potential bias in resource allocation. The complete funding of central sector schemes by central government has raised concerns of unequal treatment among states. For example, many union governments can launch special central sector schemes only where the state governments are from their political party only, or friends with their political party. So there is a possibility of union government favoring certain states or regions through central sector schemes. Then the fourth one is impingement on the principles of fiscal federalism, which is the bedrock of democracy that gets hurt, or that is a basic issue associated when fiscal centralization occurs. Increased centralized control over finances with less revenue sharing with states goes against the principles of cooperative and fiscal federalism. In fact, you can also have it as point number 1. Then fifth one, as I told you, with the case of southern and northern states, it fuels regional separatism also, because if state governments clearly see that union government is, preferring some of the states only because of some factors like population, or and having a large population or having an increasing population is not something that is worthy of more funds. Yes, we require more money to feed that population or to launch schemes for that population, but it should not get so much appreciation, because India is an overpopulated country, and hence when such states get more funds, it actually leads to regional separatism. Regionalism is a part of your syllabus under social structure in India, so this topic or this point is very important. So the fiscal consolidation and redistribution imbalances has led to growth of regionalism and separatist feelings in southern states, as they have undergone larger loss of tax revenue on account of GST implementation. So when GST was implemented, many of the powers of state government to levy taxes, they were subsumed under the GST regime. After that, many states have seen that their tax revenues have gone down. So central government promised them that if your tax revenue after the implementation of GST, if it goes down, then we will make up for that for the next 5 years. But the state governments say that making up for those loss in tax revenues is not in parallel with what we lost in terms of funds. So their taxing powers, or the power to gain more money through taxes of state governments, for example the southern governments or the government of Punjab, it has said from time to time, they have gone down. That means the funds that they had for operation, they have decreased, and there are many states which have actually benefited out of it, and it has really led to separatism and regionalism. Then sixth one, political interest. When financial centralization occurs, that means central government holds most of the money and it does not want to share it with most of the states, then political interest can be manifested. How they can be manifested? Because central government, they can stop the funds of certain states, development will not occur in that state, and government will ultimately fall down, or the same government or the same political party might not come to power, because people will not be happy with how less development has occurred in the previous few years. So this fiscal centralization, it opens the door to potential political manipulation also, and citizens will not be able to see it. You and me as citizens will not be able to see it, that why this bridge is not getting completed, why this road is still broken even after so many complaints. So centralized control over resources can be exploited to distort resource allocation and influence political outcomes. This creates an environment where the central government wields undue influence over state finances, compromising their autonomy and jeopardizing the entire democratic process. So very, very short. Let me just know in the chat section if you have any doubts. Yes, this also leads to rise in taxes on people. Yes, Durga, that's very right. When state government does not get a lot of money from union government, then whatever powers it has to levy taxes on the people, it uses this power to the maximum. For example, you see that petrol and diesel prices are touching an all-time high. So your state governments have the power to levy taxes on petrol, diesel. Third thing, liquor. And most of the funds of state government or tax or devolution of state government comes from these three sources. So petrol prices or fuel prices, they are not going down because of this particular reason, because state governments, they want more money because lesser money is coming from central government after the implementation of GST. Declining share of gross tax revenue for the state. That's right. And I urge all of you that Durga has given a very interesting and a very creative point. Kindly add that as point number 7. Even if you cannot add it as point number 7, then include it in one of the explanations of any points that you think fit. So yes, move on. Let's move on to the remedies now. So kindly have a linking point for the remedies, that the challenges posed by financial centralization demand urgent attention. That means urgent solutions are required, because the problem is of it impacts the people directly. It impacts how development occurs in your country directly. And comprehensive reforms are necessary to safeguard federalism in India. The proposed solutions encompass a range of measures aimed at restoring balance and empowering states, and these include the first one is 16th Finance Commission, which is going to be the next Finance Commission. So you can give some potential solutions that 16th Finance Commission has brought out. Also, do not mention that 16th Finance Commission should do this or keep that in mind. No, just say experts have suggested, or just use that very diplomatic language. So 16th Finance Commission, don't use this language, must look to enhance. 16th Finance Commission could enhance the state share in the net taxes. Right now it is 41%. That means 41% of the entire collection of money that is happening by central government, 41% of that gets distributed in the states. That doesn't mean every state gets 41%. 41% of money gets distributed in various states. So, that can be enhanced, that can be increased. So, experts have suggested that this could be done. Secondly, further, the principles of devolution must be relooked at, because population is one of the parameters, area is one of the parameters. Area could be large in a particular state, but population density could be low, or the money that is required by that state could be low because the state is already very rich. So, what are the principles followed by Finance Commission for devolution of funds that should be relooked to ensure equitable distribution of taxes amongst the states. Then reviewing the GST Council. I told you when GST was implemented, the central government also required the states to agree, because it impacted the federal structure of India, it impacted the financial relations between center and states. So central government promised the state governments that if you incur any losses by giving up on taxing powers on certain subjects which will be now subsumed under GST, then we will cover up for that for the next 5 years. So now reviewing the GST Council or the GST scheme itself can be done. So ensuring effective representation of diverse state interests. If many of the states are saying from time to time that we have lost money because of upcoming of GST, then certain amendments can be brought to foster inclusivity and address state-specific concerns. The anomalies in GST, like the upgraded integrated GST, which favors consuming states like UP and Bihar, these are consuming states, rather than the producing states, which contribute more. For production of Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, they must be corrected. So basically GST where it is levied, where the product gets consumed. Then the third one here is expanding the divisible pool of taxes. So you can include, there are many taxes which do not get divided into various state governments. So that 41% that I told you from 15th Finance Commission, that does not include a lot of taxes or a lot of money. Non-tax revenues or other revenue sources, they are not included. So they can be included so that state funds can be prioritized. Then decentralizing tax administration. Decentralizing tax administration means give more power to state government to levy taxes rather than taking their powers, so that union government has most of the powers to levy taxes and to earn money. More powers should be given to state governments. Also, we covered a topic on panchayats, which specifically mentioned about the report of RBI, which said that panchayats are not using or are not able to earn their own income because they do not have taxation powers. So specific taxation powers should be devolved to the local self-governments, because local self-governments, who funds the local self-governments? Panchayats and municipalities. These get funded by the state government themselves. So if local self-governments can operate on their own to a certain extent in terms of money, then the burden on state governments, that will be automatically reduced. Then finally, rationalizing expenditure. There are many central sector and centrally sponsored schemes which require rationalization, which require to be seen again, and actual money that is devolved by states to run centrally sponsored schemes, that should be undergoing a revision, so that states do not have to take loans to carry out these centrally sponsored schemes which could have been promised by the central government itself. So finally, in the conclusion, we do not have a lot of data or a lot of content. Just give a summary that implementing the above procedures will ensure fiscal federalism in our country, and emphasize on the fiscal federalism, on the importance of fiscal federalism. Once again, in your answer, have 2 to 3 lines of conclusion, because our answer has been already been long, and give just one paragraph. So these reforms can help strengthen the country's federal structure, empower its diverse states, and foster a more inclusive and prosperous nation. Secondly, democratic values can be promoted. So it is not just an economic imperative, because money is not required for the paper value of it. Money is required for development and to strengthen democracy. So it is a crucial step towards protecting the democratic values and vibrant tapestry that define India. And finally, the path of empowerment and inclusivity it can truly unite India, and that can only be achieved when there is more fiscal federalism in the country. Every state has the power to weave its unique thread into the nation's grand narrative. These are like heavy lines, very creative lines, very flowery lines. Kindly use them in your answer if you feel that you have the requisite word limit available. I'm displaying the question again. Kindly post your answers in the comment section under this video. In the next 48 hours, you will get free evaluation, a very comprehensive evaluation from our experts. Now, if you have any doubts or additions to make or anything else to ask, kindly let me know in the chat section. If you're done with today's discussion, then you can leave the chat right now, and I'll see you on Friday again with another important topic. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, then do that right now. You'll get the PDF on our Telegram channel tomorrow morning. Kindly subscribe to the playlist also. Kindly add that to your favorites, and look at the previous videos that we have covered. Send your feedback to us in the comment section or at this email ID, and contact us at this number for various other courses that EduTap is currently providing. So tobacco products are also under state governments. I think so, Bhavesh, that's right. Is Finance Commission worked under the influence of central government, or they are free to advise to President? See, Dhruv, under Finance Commission, various officers or various, well-read people are appointed, and who appoints them? The president appoints them, and president is definitely, he's the representative, she is the representative of central government. So in the appointments, if favorite people of the central government are taken into consideration, then it can be said that the recommendations of Finance Commission could be influenced by certain interests. But most of the times, a Finance Commission, being a constitutional body, it gives as transparent recommendations as it can. But many state governments have different views about various Finance Commissions. Various political leaders have different views. So you can look at the debates and the editorials when next Finance Commission gives its recommendations. And government in bound to decision, or no, government is not bound, but most of the recommendations of Finance Commission, they are taken into consonance. They are taken into consideration and implemented. You're welcome, all of you. So join me on Friday 5 p.m. again. Till then, take care, all the very best, and do post your answers on time.